As India marches towards its net zero 2070 goal, our food processing sector is undergoing a remarkable transformation, blending ancient wisdom with modern technology to create a future where economic growth and environmental sturdiness go hand in hand. This session will explore how critical economies, AI driven solutions, and sustainable innovations are reshaping our food systems. Steering today's discussion is a visionary leader at the forefront of food technology and sustainable research. I would like to extend my warm welcome to our moderator, Dr. Harinder Singh Oberoi, Director, Nixim Kundali. Dr. Oberoi, the stage is yours to guide the important conversation.
A very good evening to all of you. And I think it's coming to the fag end of the day. Most of you must be feeling a little drowsy, pretty tired, having gone around all the pavilion. I know it's a long walk. It's quite interesting too because we get to see so many things happening around with the fourth edition of WFI showing its results and the prominence. Well, coming to the session directly because as such we are running behind schedule. Sustainability and net zero food processing. We eat food processing, but when we talk about sustainability, the first thing that comes to our mind is agriculture. So agriculture has to be the mainstay. Agriculture has to sustain. But having looked at the effects of the adverse effects of climate change, the focus is slightly shifting towards food processing also. And what I'm told is like if you look at the greenhouse gas emissions, largely about 30 to 35% of these come from agriculture and food processing. And food processing, especially when you talk about dairy farming, livestock processing, they are the ones which add more to the GHGs. So, if you look at the certain aspects, if you look at climate change, all of us know that we need to work on that and we need to bring out certain technologies so that we can mitigate climate change in every aspect of food processing. Starting with supply chain, we need reefer vehicles for sure. But then can we switch over to solar energy, wind energy, or at least partly to wind energy, solar energy? And when you talk about making green buildings, making our equipment, processing machinery more greener, change those variable frequency drives or bring in some modification that they produce less emission and they're low on pollution. So there are technologies which are coming up, but then again, scaling up is an issue. We do a lot of things at our institute as far as use of renewable energy is concerned. I think more needs to be done. So to discuss more about it, since as such we are running short of time behind schedule, I have a distinguished panel, and the panelists are. I'll just give a brief introduction. Dr. Anna Bhatt, she is from World Resource Institute. Mr. Tarun Gotla, he is co-founder of Sathi. Mr. Anand Kodia, a well-known figure from Suhana Masala. And then we have Dr. Alok Mukherjee, he's from Leeds Connect. And then we have Dr. Karuna Saxena, who looks after head sustainability at Nestle India. So I think let's get on with the discussion straight away without wasting any time. So let me start with Dr. Mukherjee first. We talk a lot about, let's be clear about, the use of advanced technologies, especially in the area of food processing. So where exactly do you think we can, make a dent as far as our country is concerned? We have, everybody talks about AI. AI has changed the world, no doubt about it. IoT, sensors. But how, if at all, we have to bring in some kind of revolution in improving our supply chains, improving food processing, what do you think we have to do right from the ground level?
Firstly, good evening, respected dignity on and off the desk, and I'm very much thankful for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on this very important topic. And yes, now coming back to this question. So you rightly pointed out, sir, that AI can change, definitely artificial intelligence, and I'm from the analytics side. So right now, people are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all, and what it can do actually in the context of food processing. So in the introductory remark, sir mentioned a very good point that means a very pertinent point that it is when we are talking about supply chain and all. So actually, it's all about agriculture, and then now we need to look into the food processing part also. So I would like to give just a very brief about this one. So when we are talking about artificial intelligence in application of this one in different fields and advanced technology. So before I go into this AI application, I also would like to say that even the space tech analytics also can play a huge role in the domain of agriculture and food processing. So how? So if I have to categorize this into different segments, so supply chain optimization very much important because we're talking about net zero. So energy optimization. Now it is not possible if you are not focusing on the food waste side. It will not be possible if we don't connect all the dots in different dots of in this supply chain. If it is about in the context of food processing, so we need to look into the models and all the frameworks which can handle in a very robust manner and which can be upscalable in the context of shelf life of commodities and plus the contamination means the spoilage pattern and all. So in this regard, not just IoTs, and actually I would like to go, I would like to point out one very important thing. Right now, just sir mentioned that can we look into some kind of applications of solar energies and this one. I would like to say one thing here. Even in the context of solar energy, suppose if we decide to install solar panels in different processing industry and all, there are 3 or 4 segments which actually really should actually look into it. Like it's not just about solar panel installation will solve the problem. We need to have a good application of these advanced technology in the context of energy forecast also through solar panels. It means panel performance, the panel site suitability and all. So these things also come into the picture. Now panel energy forecast through solar panels. So here actually it's not just about, so AI, so if I have to keep it in a very simpler manner, so through sensors, through different data models, mathematical models, statistical, on one plate, and then we try to extract some kind of intelligent information from the massive data set. So the big data comes into the picture, and for upscalability, it's very much important. But one important thing is that if I don't have a correct set of data sets, so here even in the context of solar energies also, so we need to have a very good understanding of weather parameters there, solar irradiations and also. So from where we can have this kind of insights. Now this comes from the space tech side also. Now if we have a very, very good data sets and then backed by robust mathematical and AI models, then it can actually create some magic. So as far as sir, regarding your question, yes, if I have to categorize, the role of artificial intelligence is huge in the context of optimizing the value chain regarding the energy optimization, connecting all the dots in terms of food, taking care of the possibility of food wastage also, how to do this, means how to control that one. And then one very important thing, when it is about net zero, so we also should be, food industry should be looking into the dimension of demand forecasting. So this supply demand analysis has to be done, and then only in this context we can understand that what kind of combinations can be checked. So my point will be that, and my conviction is there that artificial intelligence can play a huge role to understand the energy footprint, to quantify the energy footprint. We are talking about food processing. It starts with from the agricultural side. We need to have a very, very good precision monitoring in terms of precision farming also. So water footprinting, that's not possible if we keep doing very conventional in a very conventional manner. We need to understand that what is applicable in this area can be upscaled to other areas or not. It means it needs association analysis, connecting the dots. Now this is possible through AI frameworks and space tech analytics. So in this way, it can play a huge role: optimization, food loss analysis, and the footprint analysis. So 3 things, and it can be upscaled directly. So that's what means in the very opening remark I would like to put an end to this remark, and then if I get chance, I'd like to go into the details of this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee. Well said. Yes, we have to look at the demand supply, no doubt. I mean, we have to look at energy forecasting too. Now coming to Dr. Anna Bhatt, would like to know from you, I hope you have the mic with you, right? Okay. It's working?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
No, I can hear you, but others must hear you. Okay. So, what are the, he talked about, in fact, the very important point that I missed upon was the waste that we generate. This could be the processing waste that we get. This could be the waste which comes out from the effluent side. So that is another reason which is contributing significantly to climate change. Now, what do you think of the circular economy models, which are very practical, which can be implemented in food processing industry to do some kind of waste valorization? Which are the most optimal models as per you, which you can work with?
Thank you, Dr. Oberoi, for that question. And firstly, I'd like to, thank Mufti for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share what I know. And that's a very interesting question. But before I answer that, let's think about what is circular economy. Simply put, it's about three basic tenets, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So, and taking a leaf from what the Secretary Mufti said in another session on food loss and waste, that around less than 15% of food that is produced in India is processed. So that itself contributes to a lot of wastage, a lot of loss and waste. And when we think about circularity, there is an opportunity, there's a dual opportunity to process more food and do it in a more sustainable way. So India does have that opportunity to do more and do it right. Now, coming to, is there something happening? Yes, there is a lot happening. There are so many businesses, processors who are introducing these circular economic models in the way they process food. So, many of these businesses have started thinking about how do we reduce food loss and waste through their, supply chain operations, right from the larger corporations who do it for, the ESG mandate, to also many startups who have come up with innovative solutions to reduce food loss across, especially post-harvest. In terms of reuse, there are many models that reuse the materials, the food produced, to produce something else. For instance, there are many startups like WasteLink that use food processing waste to create animal feed. And also, like, a lot of models that work with take the donation model to redistribute perfectly fit to consume produce that comes in APMC to divert it to human use. And in terms of models that are using the recycle principle, there are many that convert waste to energy as well, and as well as biofertilizer. So yes, there are innovations happening, but a lot more needs to be done as well.
Yeah, I think there are lots of startups now who are venturing into different circular economy models. That's really a good thing for India to look at. And if you have a very encouraging startups coming up, and I remember like last time when I was screening applications for this grand challenge, there were quite a few of these which showed a lot of interest in turning waste into wealth and looking at those models. Now, and one of the companies which is going in a very innovative way is Mr. Chaudia's company, which has developed a lot of biomaterial products. In case if you get a chance to look at his own pavilion, and he's put up Murphy Pavilion also, they have developed a lot of bio-based biomaterials. My question to you is, you've done a wonderful job in doing it. And the great thing about you and your company is that you want to go into a deep tech research model. You don't want to just leave it there, develop a product and forget about it. You look at the entire value chain So what do you think are the novel innovative technologies that we have in the country or which are available worldwide for converting these waste into more economical food products or nutraceuticals where industry can also sustain and we get it becomes a good model for any startup or any entrepreneur to set up a unit because he sees that there is something that I'm getting from the main material that I'm processing. I'm getting something out of the waste as well. Over to you.
So I'm just not connecting it to any nutraceuticals as such because it depends on what kind of waste comes in the food industry. So typically for us, we process spices, pickles, chutneys. So we have fruits, vegetables, and also masala waste which comes. So steaks or masala wastage products. So that is the kind of waste we deal with. So we try and apply our mind on what we can do out of these things. And plastic waste is because of the packaging material which we have. But very interestingly, one of the sessions, and you, sir, mentioned about the startup. So there is a company called Bean Loop, and that startup was participating in Last World Food India, and who is a startup inspired from case study of Eco Factory Foundation, and who the boy was part of one of the webinars I took, and he took inspiration from there, and he has developed many surface cleaning materials from fruit waste products, and he has launched his company, and he's doing really very well. He's in Nagpur today, scaling up his processes. So that's something interesting. But at our end, what we are trying to do is fairly. I just got some things to show because one thing is we create the product, but other thing is also we should be able to sell the product sustainably and scale up even that product line. Otherwise, it's only going to lie in the lab. So we've just recently have been working on plastic waste, and this is one paver block we have done, and this is 30% by weight multi-layered plastic in this, which is a product we have done. This unit is also in our factory only, and now this is a first cut prototype I had, which I've got, but now we have colored and different textures, different shapes, which we have done. Now paver block is a very scalable model because use is a lot. Sometimes we'll do some products where the use case is also not much, then you struggle to find out the market for that product itself. So we also need to apply mind what is that which is very scalable and you can do. Then second obvious thing what we do is with biodegradable, or sir, for example, I'm just showing this. This is also the gunny bag in which we get masalas. So now we have set up like we work with Bachat Guts in and around our factory, and we are doing such bags, recycled or upcycled. First thing is, like ma'am said, is reduce. How much we can reduce the waste we focus on. But then if we cannot reduce, then either we will upcycle first like this. So there is more value creation for industry like us, and our own cost per kg and economics are better. If not upcycle, then recycle. So we try and do each and every thing first reduce, then upcycle, then recycle. There is also something we do from, this is also at display, like sir said, at MOFPI stall, and where we have displayed the complete net zero industry model, which we have developed. One of our facility is completely net zero, certified for energy and getting certified for water and waste also by IGBC and global net zero certification. This is a 100% onion peel paper, and this is nothing else than onion peels, which is one of our ways, because we do kanda lasun masala, which is one of the largest selling product, and this is done from the waste of onion peels. We also have garlic peel paper. Another thing what we are doing from dandal of tamal patra or mirchi ka dandal or other things is pellets, and pellets are replacing fossil fuels. So this is also working very well for us. Again, we have to find out the solution looking at the volumes of the waste we generate. If the waste generation is too tiny, we can look at some different solutions. Also composting, also we do a lot of composting, and we are feeding more than 1,000 families in Pune on organically grown, natural grown vegetables. We have trained more than 40,000 farmers on sustainable farming, prakrutik kheti, organic farming through that. All are welcome to come and see the setup. This is one product we do. Then another product we also do is biochar, and now that is also fixing a lot of farm problems, soil health problems, but also this is a smokeless charcoal used as an energy. This is also made 100% from the factory biodegradable waste we produce. And the some of the plastic solutions like we are doing, some of the things we send it to recyclers because not every machine we have. Either it is going to make the pellets again and go back into the circularity, or pet waste. Some of the spices we sell is also pet jar, so wo bhi waste hai. So these are going for yarn making, and these companies are making yarn and converting it into fabrics, and then it is used also. So plastics is a difficult one to work with, but we have to find more and more solutions. So I'm not saying we are perfect at it, but yes, we are very progressive and we are putting a lot of time, effort, and also money to address these different issues. With some of the waste, we are also giving it to feed and fodder industry as a food for animals, especially coriander waste also, which goes for that, and it is suitable. But now the next thing what sir asked is what we are working on, how we can extract other molecules which are active components in the waste, and also convert some of the waste by using biotechnology into some other valuable dietary fiber source. So lot of your food product waste is high in cellulose, lignin. So how that can be converted to useful part is with some startup in Pune we are working. Sir, it's a startup situated in NCL Pune, CSIR NCL lab. And there this research is now going on specifically on the kairi ki jo andar ki gutli hai, raw mango ki gutli, because we process pickles. So raw mango ka gutli is one of our largest waste, and that we are trying to work out on some interesting things. And the seed, there is a seed inside that is going for oil extraction to oil extraction units in Gujarat, and they are making cosmetics out of that oil. So that process we don't do, but it goes to a recycler who will extract that mango seed butter, they call it, which is going for that. So this is what we do as a recycling story. Thank you.
I think quite an eye opener and a very practical solution to sort of problems that we're facing today. I think he's got all sorts of products, right from developing those bricks from the multi-layer plastics to the pellets from the chili stalks. I think quite interesting. So there is a lot that can be done. I mean, it's a trigger for me to see that the company is working with the NCL and they are incubated there, and besides whatever they're doing, they're also looking at innovation. And another innovator that is sitting with us is Mr. Tarun Botla. He's co-founder of a company which uses banana pseudostem. Which again, I mean, I had heard a lot about banana pseudostem being an horticulture scientist. A lot of yarns being made out of it. There were gunny bags, there were saris being made out of it. But he has developed certain products which are meant for personal hygiene. So just want to know from you, Tarun, like what triggered you? Like, how did you get this idea of making those sanitary pads using banana pseudostem? I mean, was there any specific reason for it, or there was some technological advantage that you were getting in the market? Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Oberoi and Murthy, for having me here. Yes, there was definitely a technical advantage. I come to it, but Sati from the starting focused on to circular economy from day one. We never wanted to just create another product which will go to landfill and increase more mountains. Around Delhi, you can see, in Ahmedabad, you can see they are not real mountains but a heap of garbage. Contains a ton of plastic which is coming from single-use plastics all around the world. What triggered us to focus on banana fiber specifically? We worked with a lot of fibers. Every fiber had their own advantages and disadvantages. Banana itself is a wholesome tree. From leaves to fruits to the inner core, which is called pith, is already being utilized. The only part of the tree which was not utilized is the pseudostem, the outer layer which contains the fiber. Specifically, it was not utilized because the yield of fiber is not consistent across every strand. Sometimes you get 300 grams, sometimes you get 2.5 kgs. That also is very much dependent on the farming patterns which the crop has been farmed at, all the fertilizers which has been used. But the fiber itself is very technically advanced way back in the days, it was used as a anchor, the thread which is anchored in the ship, because the more the banana absorbs, the fiber absorbs, it get heavier to stop the ships faster and easier. But over a period of time, a lot of other industrial fibers that came in and replaced it. It has been a part of our life way back in the days in Ayurvedic era, where the fiber was utilized all the way to preserve paintings also. All tampatras, tadpatras, which has been made, a lot of it contains banana fibers inside it when they were produced. So we used it because we realized that it's an agricultural byproduct or a waste which can be upcycled without introducing or growing a commercial crop just to make sanitary napkins, which is the current way of linear economy, how it is doing. It's naturally antibacterial, it is super absorbent and doesn't have any sort of side effect on skin. And India being the largest producer, 30 million metric ton every year of banana, it's abundantly available in more than 14 states. So the model is replicable to every state on a central level, where you do not even have to ship the product from state to state, and you reduce on the emissions which is being created by shipping the product altogether. And there are several other applications, and that's what triggered us to use the banana fiber, and it's starting.
Just continue with that. I mean, do you think, in case if once you reach a particular level of production, maybe you'll be requiring more of raw material and may not be available throughout the country, because banana is one crop which is not grown throughout the country. Right? So, do you think there are other options too? If parali is a big problem, and coming months, I mean, see October, and we'll be all in smog, especially sitting in Delhi. I know the kind of hell we go through. It's even if you put mask around, whatever you do, like all of us, I'm sure must be having some kind of infection somewhere or other. We're not aware about it because we don't get ourselves scanned every now and then. But then, do you think, parali or other stocks, the rice paddy straw, or any other straws can also be used for making these sanitary napkins, which have very, very specific requirements, very specific properties? Because if I have to make a board, okay, I can still use it, I can still develop it, even if it does not have that kind of consistency or strength. But you're developing a product which is used for a personal hygiene, that is a very specific purpose. So just wanted to have your insight in that.
Definitely. I'm really sorry what Delhi has to go through because of the parali burning. But yes, the other fibers, we currently work with more than 45 fibers. All of them of natural origin, none of them are artificial. Each of the fiber we have found different applications. Banana being best of them, that's why we started using that first. We have already moved to bamboo. So currently, if you go to Saathi's website, we are using banana and bamboo both fibers as producing the product. And Dr. Oberoi is very right that at some point the scale will be scaling up. This will be struggling because there is only a limited amount of natural fiber that exists, even in a certain crop cycle it exists in. So we do have to move to other fibers. Definitely, all fibers have their own properties, create add value adds, but also drawbacks that exist. We continuously work on making sure that if we have any other fiber, for example, rice husk, it's a natural deodorant. Perfume companies specifically are buying it at thousands of rupees of kgs to add it into perfume on a very minimalistic amount. Same process rightly can be added to sanitary napkins to create an odorless sanitary napkins without using perfumes, which current commercial sanitary napkins uses. Saathi doesn't uses it because banana and bamboo fiber currently does have a property of capturing molecules and keeping it odorless. But let's say we move to another fiber where we'll be using rice husk to introduce it as a natural deodorant. And definitely institute like yours or other institutes, especially agricultural institutes which are focused on tech development, can really be of help to Saathi or other organizations who would like to use post-harvest waste, which is there in abundantly. India being the agricultural country focused a lot on agricultural revenue, it exists. Every state had its own unique type of agricultural waste, and those agricultural waste have very unique applications. and they can also be introduced better, be it baby diapers or makeup pipes, which we are currently making out of bamboo, and other products as well.
I think this is the point where industry, startup, and academia have to come together. We, being a technology institute or a similar technology institute, we've been working on valorization, biovalorization, but this is something interesting idea. I mean, whatever, when I saw your profile and looked at the product that you're developing, and it's a very need-based kind of a thing. So we would love to work with you to see that. The other the residues also, and my priority, of course, will be Prali, just sitting in the hotbed of the emissions that we're going to see now. Now, talking about emissions, food processing again has a big role to play. Like to go to Dr. Taruna Saxena to have a views about what best could be done to reduce those, what they call as scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions. I would request if you can just throw a light about what the scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions are. Maybe because we have a heterogeneous audience here, just for the sake of everyone around, it would be better. I would request you to just clarify that, and then your thoughts on how to improve, what can be done to reduce that.
Thank you, Dr. Oberoi, for having me here, and also thanks MOFPI and EY for setting up this panel. Thank you everyone to be here at this time of the day, because it's a long day for all of us. I'll start actually a little maybe take a step back before going to scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. I know that I have started my journey with climate change and sustainability 20 years ago, when many people were not even knowing and talking about sustainability, right? And now why we are talking about it. We have grown, we are around 8 billion people on this planet, right? And we are using the biosphere capacity of the planet. Also, if you look at, the population is going to be 10 billion. If 20% of the population lives in India, in this part of the world where we are in the South Asia, or Asia is the biggest continent with the maximum population. We need to talk about all these things because we need to see that, okay, and now coming from the energy sector, the steel sector, I know the pollutions and the emissions are mostly standalone, right? You're coming from one point source of emission. But when you look at the food processing or the food sector or the agri sector, it's a complete value chain. It starts from the farmer, right? And it's upstream to downstream, all levels, right? And if you look at the emissions which are happening, maximum is at the agriculture level. And I don't know how many of you are actually aware of the National Action Plan on Climate Change. There are 8 missions, and one of the mission was on agriculture, right? Sustainable agriculture. As a nation, we are giving more importance to energy. As a nation, we are giving more importance to some of the other, national action plans like solarization, because they're low hanging, right? They're easy to do. But if you really want to transform, the ecosystem, or if you really want to transform, you really need to work with the agriculture backbone of the country, and those are the farmers. So this is the background of what I'm going to talk about. Also, sustainable ability has become a kind of a horizontal for all of us, because it's a business imperative for most of the people. While we know that we are dealing with most of the perishable products, they are grown in one season and needs to be consumed over a period of time. So we need to get into a lot of things like shelf life, the quality, how we are ensuring the nutrition, all of that. These are the levels of complexities in the business in which we are. Now you go to the next level of complexity is the climate change, the impact of climate change, the impact of rainfall, the impact of natural calamities, the physical risk which are there, around us, which we see around us, which impacts the productivity. So these are the complexities. And beside this, now as industry, we also need to look at scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. So I'll just take 1 minute again to talk to you about what is scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Scope 1 is the emission which is coming directly from my production, right? Scope 2 is the emission which is emitted due to the electricity or the indirect emission, which, while making our products and services, we are using that energy for us. So that is scope 2. And the scope 3 is the upstream and the downstream emission, which is like from the sourcing from agriculture, from the growing and producing in the at the farm level, or transporting it to the factory, and then whatever we are producing, we are taking it out of the factory to the either the distribution or to the end of the retail. So it's a complete value chain which is comes under scope 3. So each and every company is now today looking at that how they wanted to do, like what is their scope 1 emission, 2 emission and 3 emission. They are actually doing that estimations and doing all those calculations around the emission. For Nestle, when we have done that in 2018, we also made our net zero roadmap, and most of the companies are making, and you heard Dr. Oberoi stating that India has a net zero roadmap of 2070. So most of the companies in India are also working around what is their net zero roadmap. So they need to know what is their scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3 emission. Within the fence, what I am doing, within my factory, what I am doing is scope 1 and 2. It is the easiest for anybody to do. Scope 3 is the most difficult for all of us to look at, to address those, because the emission factors, if what you call it, are linked to the productivity, are linked to the kind of soil, or the nutrition or nutrient contents of the soil and other things. So what is the embedded carbon in the soil, how much the soil is healthy and nutrient rich. So all those things contribute to that. And if you look at the dairies and all, then it comes to even the productivity of the dairy, the cattle and all of that. So it's a big task to map the scope 3 and then address the mitigation plan for that. So this is what scope 1 and 2 and 3. How Nestle is trying to do it, I'll now talk about that. So for us, Nestle, scope 1 and scope 2 is easiest, because whatever we are producing, we are now using biomass gasifiers in our factories. And to Mr. Oberoi's point that there will be a lot of parali which is getting burnt in now Punjab with the season coming up. We are doing around 35,000 metric tons of waste coming from the rice husk, converting into the pellets and using in our biomass gasifier at Moga. So that's, to address the steam cycle and other things in Moga. So this is addressing the scope 1 by using biomass gasifier. For scope 2, we are doing 100% renewable energy. We are buying REC certificates or putting up, the captive RE for our product energy needs. So that is we are doing for scope 2. For scope 3, we are doing assessment. Actually, we have done a complete gap assessment report for upstream and downstream. So we are doing a lot of interventions in logistics. We are doing, obviously, that whatever transports we were taking out, we are now optimizing all that. So we're building efficiencies around logistics and also transforming logistics, going from diesel to LNG and others. We are also doing rail, using rail more than, the trucks, which we are for the long distance, long haul. And for upstream, we are doing all the soil testing, regenerative agriculture, biochar. We are introducing different things, to address our scope 3 emissions. So that is the way we are trying to do and address different emissions in our value chain. And we would like to definitely, and this is action which we need to do more, educating our, partners who are the farmers, the agriculturists, the agronomists, working on, on ground. So we are managing our emissions in this way. I hope I could answer, sir, your question. Thank you so much.
No, perfect. I mean, it was quite insightful to know about all the different scope emissions that we talked about. But my concern is Nestle is it's a big multinational, very well organized company, state-of-art facility. What do we do with the smaller companies which are in this MSME area? If you look at the Indian food industry, it's quite fragmented. There's only about 2% registered companies that we have in the country, and all others they fall in the unorganized sector. So what is your suggestion? Like, how do you think that they can reduce these emissions, be it even the scope 1 or scope 2 emissions?
Sir, I think very important, we need to definitely form a coalition of, willing. We need to do something with the government and the authorities. We also need to be more vocal as industry in the forums, because as you know, I think the regulators are also need to look at that how they can create that kind of a ecosystem, in the country, incentivizing the farmers, incentivizing the companies, the smaller companies to do something. For example, if somebody wants to do a scope to energy, they need to get a better price of renewable energy, right? The government says that there has to be a state regulations or the central guidelines that okay, they need to incentivize the production coming using some of the things, and how they can be free energy audits, right? To build efficiencies. So we need to see that how as a country we want to incentivize our stakeholders, whether they are farmers, agriculturists, dairies, the FPOs, so that they can all come together in this moment of change, because there's a cost of sustainability, and the consumer doesn't want to pay for it. But as a country, as a nation, as a world, it is our responsibility to bring that change. How we can do that more effectively is that we need to incentivize, and we need to talk more about the national action plan, which is on the sustainable agriculture, beside the other action plans, which the mission the India has taken in their priority list. Thank you. I hope I could answer that.
Yes, perfectly. Dr. Bhatt, now when you talk about the unorganized sector that's in the country, so what do you suggest then? What does the smaller processors do to integrate, say, renewable energy and the water recycling system, so as to have to strengthen the circular economy strategy? Because we talked about Dr. Mukherjee was talking about, we do have the solar panels, we're using solar energy to a certain extent, but there have been issues with the performance, there have been issues with the energy audit. So how do you think we can integrate, though this is a little scientific, but how do you think we can integrate the solar energy, the renewable energy, along with the best water use efficiency model?
Thank you, Dr. Oberoi. And I would like to build on what Dr. Saxena also said, giving example of larger companies and how do we incentivize or support more smaller enterprises in the unorganized sector. And when we are just going back to my point on tapping on the opportunity to introduce more processing, and especially when we are talking about farmer producer companies, FPOs at the farmer level, when they are introducing or they are getting into setting up smaller processing unit, how do we ensure access to more renewable energy, more sustainable options for them, and especially given that sometimes price points are too steep. There are many challenges to access. So firstly, when we are talking about introducing renewable energy options in that segment, in the unorganized sector, there is a problem of access that needs to be dealt first, and it could be done through many ways, although it's easier said than done. One option could be like going the cooperative way, where we can, many small enterprises can come together and co-invest in it, co-invest in certain technology. Innovative pricing models can be introduced to help them access these innovations, such as not investing in a solar powered cold storage, for instance, at the first go, but having a more pay as you go model or a leasing options. So those kind of enabling access options can be introduced, so that while their innovations exist, but these unorganized sector enterprises can also access them. I hope that answered your question.
I'd like to go to Mr. Chadia now. I think we talked about the Scope 3 emissions, wherein Saxena spoke about integrating the entire supply chain, and you can't have control over all the factors. Since the time I've taken over the scientific agriculture research system, it was always been my dream to see that the farmers get transformed to FPOs, and FPOs become processors. So there should be something like a farmer processor association also, that farmer producer company, farmer processor companies too. And one live example is in Nasik, the Sahedris, and now there are Brudas in Andhra Pradesh. There are a few more which are coming up. We have Northern Mega Food, the producing company in Haryana. So where do you think, we academia, research and industry and the FPOs can come together and solve this problem of the abundant waste that we have? One model that you have shown, which has really attracted me, I was just thinking, listening to all of you, can I not use the straw, the parali that I'm talking about all the way through into making those the brick kind of structure that you come out with, and then try to build evaporative cold structure, other structure where I can store my fruits, vegetables right in the farm itself. So would you be, since you are you've got established business in Maharashtra, would you like to open up a small unit somewhere in North India to see that we build up this kind of and scale up this technology in North India using the paddy straw? I know there could be challenges.
I agree, and it's absolutely fine. But I always feel, sir, that we need to have science and creativity both together to tackle the problems, and that's what my belief has been for last 10 plus years. I am working on these things, and this is how it's been evolving. And some of these things are getting very good commercial success also now. So I'm quite happy, and that's why I'm stressing that we also need to see marketability of the reused process. So many times converting it to some form of energy like pellets is always the easiest way, but may not be the best value we are able to get out of this, but it's still not bad way forward. I agree to you, sir. I will be more than open to explore the idea. Some of the things I am trying to myself develop on now, also with NIFTEM, I am talking with Sir Institute under his leadership, is to develop cutlery. Because a biodegradable cutlery, not edible. Lot of time people have launched these edible spoons and edible cutlery. I don't think it's a need of the market and making it expensive. What people want is just biodegradable cutlery, which is no plastic, and खाने के साथ वो भी अगर composter में डालो तो compost हो जाएगा. So just a biodegradable cutlery also we can make, and if it can compete. The problem with the replacing plastic cutlery is also pricing. So many times when we will work with Parali also, I'm more than happy to work on that. And I was also thinking parallelly, maybe this year I may want to take up some samples of that waste and apply some mind on working on that solution. Yes, so definitely this paper thing also I'll come to you. It's difficult to sell this paper as paper, but I am able to sell it as a table mat in many this high-end cafes which there. It's a printable paper. I can print on it. I can write on it. But they're taking 14,000 pieces every month as a table mat to those cafes it goes. Now, I had many issues. They don't want A4. They want A3. So how to make A3 now? Because we are doing sheets. We're doing manual work, semi-automatic work. But with a government-backed institute which is having more intellect with them, scientific intellect, I think industry like us is ready to step forward, sir, and create far more better, sustainable case studies to tackle different type of waste, sir. Definitely. I'm very much ready, sir.
No, for sure. Going to do something. Let's crack. Let's begin with cracking the Parali problem. And this, of course, I really like this concept. Since you made it only from onion peel. Similarly, we also made something called, Surakshit. That's a film that we made, which is basically has the permeability property, and we've embedded seeds into it. That's through, you must have seen that. That's through the vegetable, the fruit waste that we collected, and from that we could just spin out the cellulose, the pectin, the fibers that we had, and without adding an iota of any chemical polymer. We haven't even added polylactic acid into it. No polyvinyl alcohol, no ethanol are used in that. We have developed a film which is breathable, which got seeds into it, and you can transport fruits, vegetables in that, and you consume that, and you put it back in the pot, and you get a plant, which could be a tomato plant, which could be chrysanthemum, which could be whatever you want, like within about 21 days. The entire concept. But then Parali is a little tough to handle because the silica content one, and there are other things also that I'll discuss with you once we. But then I think there is a big scope of taking it forward. Undoubtedly, we need to work together, industry, academia, and of course the FPOs need to work together and see that we create sustainable solutions for food processing, for bio-waste management and all these things. One last question to Dr. Mukherjee, since we're running behind schedule. is that, I just want to know from you that do we need to use all this? This is a personal question also. I mean, I'm not an expert on everything in the world, especially not on digital technology. I'm too bad at it. If you ask me, my students are far ahead of me when it comes to ChatGPT and AI, and I learn from them. In fact, I learn from my daughters too. So, are there these technologies? Can AI be used as a standalone technology in food processing, or do we need to integrate it with IoT and sensors to make food processing more effective?
Thank you so much for your question, sir. And on a lighter note, I am not a fan of ChatGPT, although I am from the analytics side because I have my reservations. Anyway, this is a very, very important question, sir. Actually, no, I as a student of this domain, of the mathematical background analytics, no, IoT and sensors alone and this will solve the problem. Actually, this can defeat the entire idea. I'll just take a few minutes, sir, and I'll catch the, I'll follow the keywords of this one, the discussion that we had right now, like solarization. So, ma'am talked about very pertinent points about that. Actually, from the agricultural side, the carbon emission is huge. It's a reality. It's very true, actually. We talk about right now the carbon footprint from the soil side. So then now solar energy is in the picture. Now there is one more very important, right now people are talking about AI solar panels. So now why I took these keywords. We need to have an integrated approach. There is no doubt AI alone will solve the problem. The answer with utmost humility, sir. And whatever we have experienced, because we have launched pan India scores for different aspects of agricultural value chain. In fact, like BCS value chain score. I just would like to share that on 25th and this is the time of like Navaratri. So on 25th of June we have launched like one dedicated portal called Devi Sapsati, where we launched pan India soil score, soil utility level scores and all. Why actually we did this? To answer this thing only. The problem with this approach, if we go standalone with AI, actually when we talk about AI, actually we are trying to infer some information from a massive data set and it should be upscale. Then it actually justify the purpose. Then we are talking about net zero. If we are integrating, bringing all the things on one plate like sensor networks, IoTs and all, then we also need to understand, sir, that are our models and architectures are is it helping us to solve the problem backed by? Is it helping us to contain the footprint? If it is happening, then it is sustainable. If it is not happening, then it is not sustainable. So I just want to give one example. Sometimes the AI approach can be a huge cost data center also with a huge footprint. Then again, it is defeating the idea. Then what is sustainability? Sustainability means we are going to take care of the energy footprint of this entire AI architecture. Now, this is possible only when we take each parameters from each dots of this agricultural value chain. What we did when it is about pre-harvest, what we are actually doing when we are discussing about the post-harvest. If we are connecting this dot, then it is sustainable. If we are not connecting this dot, then the purpose of technology will be defeated. So my humble submission would be, sir, that yes, standalone, no, integrated approach backed by the containing the energy footprint and upscalability in terms of a good, robust mathematical models. Thank you.
Well, I totally agree with you, and it's time that because we've been connecting with our audience also here, and I would like to close the discussion here. But before that, I really found this discussion very insightful, quite informative, and I could have gone on and on. But then, in the interest of time, and looking that you all had a long day, and I've been very magnanimous in this. Now I'll open this house for discussion. Is there any 1, 2 or 3 questions if our audience wishes to ask us? So we open this house for discussion, please. Yeah.
Hi everyone, great discussion, very insightful. So I am Chandana, I'm from the Good Food Institute India, GFI India. So we look at a lot of projects into agri-waste side streams, food industry side streams, for upgrading, adding value, and making food again, so that that's a circular system. One of the biggest challenges, and some of you actually, Mr. Anand touched upon it, is the price. The sometimes, and Dr. Mukherjee, you also just talked about how sometimes this processing and value addition never justifies either the GHG you add to making this happen, and the price of the end product is also so high that it's usually people don't go into adding value to it. So how are you fighting that? I see all of you have some kind of a product that's already in the market, but what makes it worth processing something, bringing it back into the system, and how do you tackle the price? Because people would never want to pay for cutlery which is 2x the price of a single-use plastic spoon. So it's the same with the food system we are facing. If we are asking people to switch, say fermentation needs sugar feedstock, you can make sugar from ligocellulosic waste that is from rice straw or from wheat remains. But it's so much processing, addition, and cost. The company just says, no, I'm just going to buy pure dextrose or glucose and use that. So how do we tackle the food reuse without adding too much burden on the customers to pay extra because it's made from a circular economy approach? So I think this, and I think the sanitary napkin example is also great, because most of the time the genuine plastic ones are much cheaper, and nobody is, especially in the current economy, nobody is willing to pay extra to buy something that is made biodegradably. So the price point is something no one touched upon fully, and I'm curious to know if industry, academia, non-profits, and the government can work together to bring the price down so that it's easier for wider scale adoption, whether it's for food application or any other personal hygiene application or paper application, anything. But the price point is what's really the biggest burden, and the customers end up paying for it.
I think the best answer, since they are live examples here, Tarun and Anandji can answer in a much better way than others, so I leave it to them too.
I want to answer food to food also. In fact, that is one of my largest application, and that is going to the soil. Lot of my biodegradable waste goes to soil. More than 300 acres of soil we have converted to certified organic farm, and my vegetable or grains or fruits which I am growing and selling through weekly markets. We sell more than 2 crore worth products in the local Pune market itself, and the products are cheaper than the regular chemically grown products which are in the market, but still are more healthier and cleaner source products. So I can sell them in more pricing also, but which I don't do because I want to, it's more like a service also, but I'm making good margins also in that. So we speak about, sir, farm to folk, but no one speaks about folk back to farm. The mulch or the soil needs to be fed with the organic material. We need to fix more and more carbon also back into the soil. That's also one of the very efficient way to fix carbon back. So we practice a lot of sustainable farming, permaculture, and many biodynamic farming, many other things we practice. And that is one of the best ways. Second thing is you keep adding more and more value. And as I said, you need creativity and science approach both together. Creativity because we want to create the value out of it. Like I was just going to show you that we are also trying something new with the gunny bags we use. These are sugarcane and turmeric gunny bags. And we are trying to see if we can make more and more value-added products. We are trying to see if we can export them for better value then. So the journey will keep happening. We have to find and figure out better solutions. So, and the replacement of fossil fuel with these fuels has been a very promising cost reduction program for us. Definitely, we are almost LPG free company now, and now by 2030 we commit ourselves to also become fossil fuel free. Not for scope 3, but scope 1 and scope 2 for sure. No, I'm doing this for 14 years now. I didn't even know term. I didn't even know term circularity. I didn't even know term carbon credit. So, but I don't mind if I get them. So
So maybe with your permission, if I can also add something here. See, actually, I think also we need to have a systems approach. He is intelligent, he is creative, and also, he has some science background, maybe to convert all these, what amazing initiatives we are seeing here, right? But, to have maybe more of Anands in the world, right, or in the country, we need to inventorize waste at every level so that we can address and, we can create some kind of a demand and a supply model. If it is a waste for me, it can be a useful product for someone else. So inventorization of waste is a solution, is a systems approach which we can take to actually address the challenges what we are facing in terms of circularity. So I think that is something which I would like to add, because they are I think it makes sense to even look at this as a next step. Thank you.
Before I answer, a quick thing about carbon. I'm proud to say that Sati saves 29 gram of CO2 emission and 14 grams of plastic every time we sell one pad. Scope 1, Scope 2, and transportation to the client, the end user, everything inclusive. And yes, we are not using renewable energy at all, because we are a small factory right now and the audit does cost a lot. So, but still, we are able to save it. And to answer the previous question you have asked, it is doable for small enterprises by looking at their supply chain, where they're sourcing from, what they're sourcing. Are these materials creating more carbon emissions? Is your end product life is creating more carbon emission? And Sati has cracked it, and we are the currently only company in hygiene who is 100% completely circular from the sourcing all the way to end life cycle of the product. To answer your pricing question, there are different ways. Definitely government subsidies, government taxing plastic products more. Currently GST being reduced on biodegradable materials to 5% to 0%. Policies and institutional help is always welcome. That helps. But penalizing a material which was introduced in World War II, which is plastic, for its mass usability and other unsustainable materials in all the industries, be it food or anything, right? Asking anybody or Mr. Anand to stop packaging in plastic, but then where the pickle will go, right? Shelf life will reduce, the cost will any which ways increase. Different pricing strategy is what Sati has adopted. Currently, yes. So I'll tell you, we introduced banana fiber packs at a price of 30 rupees per pack. Most expensive, not just India, around the world. The most expensive pack to be sold till 2015 till 2025. We haven't reduced the price. It's a premium segment. It caters to 5% of the audience. Every pad I sell, I donate one in rural areas. So I am catering to both extreme currently, where there is excess is not there, and where there is a person who can pay. Now, how do you sell it? It depends. How do you price it? It depends. Because a good product, an average user is paying 15,000 rupees to a gynecologist for itching, rashes and all these issues. Buy Sati packs, 1,800 rupees a year, that 15,000 is safe. A person who earns enough can pay that, and a person who doesn't earn enough, we are giving it for free. So we are pricing it differently. Central London, if you buy Sati product, it is 12 pounds a packet. If you buy in Delhi or suburban of London, it's £6 a product. If you go further, it is £3.5 a product. We have made sure that our pricings are according to the audience, and the product quality is same. There is no compromise into product quality. Now, as we discuss, other fibers can be introduced. That's why we are working with 45 fibers, because the largest market is middle class market. They want a 5 rupees pad, they want a 6 rupees pad. To scale, we are looking at other alternatives where the processing is cheaper for us. The whole idea of bringing an agricultural byproduct all the way to increase the shelf life and a product that can be used for a year is something which we are continuously working on to reduce that processing, because we've cracked it. Now reduce the cost and then go into the mass market.
Any other question? Yeah, quickly. One last question before we wind up now.
Hello everyone, I'm Harsha from CEW. And ma'am, you spoke about the systems approach and also particularly of thinking of a coalition where we can get a lot of these actors like the academics, like the industry and the think tanks together. what kind of role do you envision this coalition to take? And also, like, just imagining so that we don't get lost, the voice does not get lost in the crowd. So we have a lot of coalitions in place who do play a different role in the ecosystem, but what kind of role do you envision of this coalition that you thought in mind when you were sharing that with us, that since the market is so fragmented, to in order to bring them together, in order to actually make the change that we are chasing up till the 2017 net zero target, how do we get there? Like, to get a bit more into the thinking zone and the design thinking zone, what should it look like? Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Need more of such actors in this area. I know what CEW is doing in the sector of in energy, with Arunabha being leading that. We need to bring all those things, as I mentioned, why I talk about the coalition, is that we, as all the participants and we need to come together and ask our policymakers to talk more about the sustainable agriculture mission, right? And to bring that change, we need to be together in that journey and make those changes, because our supply chains are fragmented. That is one thing. Also, the level of awareness in among the farmers, among the FPOs, need to be enhanced, right? So I think it is a collective action which is required between all the key stakeholders, and obviously anchored by somebody like CEW.
Perfect. Thank you so much, ma'am.
To add to that, if with your permission, that's a very pertinent point you brought up, especially about coalition. And just to add to Dr. Saxena's thought there, at WRI India, we are anchoring the Friends of Champions 12.3 network, which is a coalition of 35 organizations across India that share the same goal of food loss and waste reduction. And right from Zomato to startups, innovative startups, we're part of this coalition, and we do various things together. And we also have an initiative to engage large businesses, for instance, in the 10, 20K, 30 initiative at WRI India, which deals with which helps businesses to think about bringing in change in their upstream part of business, especially we're working with ITC to help them measure the food loss and waste that happens in their operation, and how do they work with their suppliers, farmers to reduce post-harvest losses. So there are merits in a sort of collaborative collective action because this is a multi-stakeholder problem to be solved.
Thank you very much. I think it was one of the most absorbing sessions that we've ever had. I've been moderating so many sessions, each speaker was so many of them, speaker too, but then really enjoyed it through and thoroughly. And especially when you're at the fag end of the day, and none of you leaving the hall say something that speaks volumes about it. So thank you very much, all my esteemed panelists. It was a wonderful discussion, quite informative. In fact, I have learned a lot. I've noted on few points, and I'd like to have more clarification because, there is something which I really don't understand. So I'd like to have details from each one of them separately. And I'm sure they can share the emails of all the panelists here, including my email, and you can get connected with us anytime. We're always there. Thank you very much, all the audience. You've been a wonderful audience here. And I wish we had more time to discuss, but since we've come to the close of the session, I just thank all of you. Thank you very much. And thanks to my parent organization, MOFPI, and of course, EY for organizing in a much better way. We really enjoy it, and we hope to see more audience and more people and more interaction in this area in the time to come. Thank you very much.
Insightful session. Today we have seen how by products we can make co-products, waste become resources, and sustainability become competitive advantages. On this note, I may request Sir to facilitate the panelists. Dr. Anirban, Dr. Tarun Bora, Mr. Anand, Dr. Alok, Dr. Taruna. May I please request Tanisha to facilitate Dr. Oberoi?